Okay, good evening. The Board of Education Township District 208 will come to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're ready for a roll call.
Mr. Caputo?
Present.
Mr. Durkin?
Here.
Ms. Gaska?
Here.
Ms. Ruska? Mr. Novak?
Here.
Mr. Williams?
Here.
Ms. Taylor?
Here. Reports this evening. We'll move right to the superintendent's report.
I do not have a report.
Okay.
It was not an accident that you did not see one in the packet due to, I just gave one 2 weeks ago. I have no updates on the field or anything at this time.
Wonderful. And Dr. Smetana.
Good evening. Tonight I'll provide the board with financial information for the month of February, which represents 67% of our fiscal year. The monthly summary report shows that the total operating revenue for the month, excluding the working cash bond proceeds, were $2,501,023, with 80% from property tax, 16% from evidence-based funding, which is our state funding, and 2% from registration fees. The total operating expenditures for the month were $2,689,178, with 72% towards salary and benefits, 15% on purchase services, and 5% on transportation. The summary of revenues shows that the district has received 48.4% of our budgeted revenue for the year. Again, that's if you exclude the working cash proceeds. This percent is lower than this time last year due to property tax collections and timing. I do have a slight update. We received, when I wrote this, was last week, so we have received more money from the county. So to date, we've received about 97% of the 2024 property tax levy. There's still no reporting available, though, so that's just an estimate. Some of that could actually be towards previous years, so that will all get figured out once they have the reporting, which hopefully something will be available in the next 2 weeks, they said.
Was there any discussion? Is there another installment coming soon?
So if there's any additional money that they have from the fall collection that they're holding on to, we were told we should receive it this week, and then any money that will come next week, because their plan is to start distributing some of the spring collection next week. So there is still a chance later this week we could receive money. We're certainly owed money because we're only at about 97%, but I don't know if they've collected that money and are holding it, or if they haven't collected that money from taxpayers.
Is the 97% what we were expecting, or they told us it's 97%?
That's what we have gathered from the township treasurer. We don't,
But that's our estimate, not
correct.
theirs.
Cook County has not released any sort of estimate. They don't have any reporting.
Yeah, why would they?
Yeah, they don't have any reporting available yet at this
Okay.
point, so that's just kind of our best guess.
And our budget anticipates 99%.
Correct,
Okay.
but that's also spread out over 2 fiscal years. So we're chasing roughly in our budget about almost $1 million.
Okay.
From that from the
Collection.
previous year tax collection. Correct.
Yes. I just wanted to make sure we had some shared knowledge that this is real money.
Yes, correct.
A million here, a million there.
So I hopefully will have a more positive update next month. The summary of expenditures shows that the district has spent 66.2% of the budgeted expenditures. Again, that's not including the working cash bond proceeds. And this amount is pretty similar to this time last fiscal year. And then, as always, I included the statement of revenue and expenditures for both the board accounts as well as the activity accounts. And that concludes my report tonight.
Any more questions for Dr. Smetana?
None were submitted.
Dr. Freitas.
Good evening, honorable board members and Dr. Skinkis. We're in 4th quarter, so we have about 9 weeks left. So here comes prom, here comes testing, here comes, all the fun stuff to conclude the year. Speaking of testing, on the 15th of April, we have our ACT beginning at 8 a.m. throughout the building. And on the 24th, on attendance day, we will have our prom at the Oak Brook Hilton. We're going back, and we have a great relationship. Mr. Manning and his team, they do a great job in organizing it, and has been outstanding, and we have a great relationship with the Oak Brook Hills Hilton. Under school cultures and operation, we are in College and Career Week. I will let our student advisors to the Board of Education share all the details, after I'm done, because it's been an exciting week. I want to recognize the Student Services Department with August and all the counselors, everybody involved. It's been a great week, thus far. On the 11th of March, we have a PTO meeting tomorrow, 6:30 and 2:01. The applications for new student advisors open up tomorrow. Yes, guys, we do have to replace. Right? We're gonna miss you, but hopefully we get another set of great Bulldogs as yourselves. So the applications open up tomorrow. On the 13th of this week, we will have our Health Sciences Career Fair. On the 18th of March, we have coffee with the principal at 9 a.m. at the cafeteria. And then a big event coming to town. On March 21st, we have Dancing with the Chamber. Everyone's invited. We will have, from our Student Services Department, we have Mr. Franco, our counselor, performing, and I will be a judge. This will be the third year we're doing it, and the third year that we're participating. Dean Hawkins danced last year. It's always a great event. So, sold out. The auditorium, gets filled.
And you've been elevated to judge.
Yes, I did start as a
Congratulations.
dancer, and I like doing the judging. I love seeing all the performers now.
Okay, great.
In the month of April, again, as I mentioned, we have our, at the end of the year bulletin, a lot of great things happening, our fine arts and applied arts ceremony, college athletic commitment ceremony, graduation tickets, cap and gown, local scholarship breakfast, all that has been sent to families. It's available here. Again, it will be a great quarter of events. On the 30th, there's a quick update. On April 30th, we will have our multicultural fair from 6 to 8 in the auditorium. We've had in the past Brazilian dancers, a quinceañera pageant, food from the world, arts and crafts. Big shout out to our Asian Student Association led by Ms. Pushpa, and OLAS led by Mr. Ippolito, who kind of run the event. We have about 200-300 people. It's packed. It went from 30 minutes to 40, and now the event lasts like an hour and a half, 2 hours. It is a wonderful event that brings everybody from the community together here at RB. For activities and athletics in the month of March, on the 12th, we will have the Bulldog Story Time for future educators, 6 p.m. in the North Riverside Library. Big shout out to Ms. Kay with other students on that path. They read elementary books to children, and they do arts and crafts. I've had the pleasure of bringing my youngest to it, and it's great that RB's promoting my early education, elementary education, and really being out there at the forefront of that career path. On the 18th of March, we will have a Sports Boosters meeting at 6 p.m. in room 201. That concludes my report. Bulldogs, Ari and Hannah, your turn. Go ahead.
Right. So just a disclaimer, we had some updates to it, so you should all have an updated form in front of you with some extra items on it.
Thank you.
So to start in March, we had the end of third quarter. That was on the 6th, so now we're in the final quarter of RB, counting down the days until graduation.
How many days?
So
you don't if you don't actually know the number.
Exactly, Mr. Tinoco, I know, has a room thing, and I look at it every day. So very excited for graduation and see where we end up next. And then we have the College and Career Week.
One bar for graduation in college. This week was our College and Career Week, where students were exposed to what their futures may entail, as many will be pursuing college education or entering the workforce. And starting off strong on Monday, students were asked to wear their college gear, and also many attended the college fair in the Commons area, which is a great opportunity for students, as it was showing many education opportunities available in our area, and it just brought the college fair to school. And college fairs are usually in different locations, so it just made it easier for students to see what is out there for them. And then today, students dressed for success, wearing their best gear, and real-world workshops were available to students where they learned how to craft resumes, how to navigate interviews, and several other tips to success in the future. And tonight, RB had the college planning tips for juniors and parents from 6 to 7 p.m. in the auditorium, and this is just a great opportunity for juniors like my sister who went and just see what life after high school entails.
And as for the rest of the week, tomorrow we have Future is Bright, which is Neon and Tie-Dye Day. Some events are the School Lead College and Career Search for juniors from periods 1 to 4 to help them kind of get an idea of where to start with this, especially since the summer is usually when they recommend starting to get your essay idea together and all of that stuff. And then we have the College of DuPage free application from 10 to 11:30 in the College Career Center to kind of get a head start on summer to go and just get that ball rolling. Then on Thursday the 12th, we have Union and Military Day to honor some alternative pathways other than just going to college. So that'll be red, white, and blue and union t-shirts. RB really does a great job with promoting things like plumbing and trades and going to the military. And so this is just a way to highlight that. There will be a trades and career fair from 9:40 to 11:05 in the East Gym, and I remember we went to that last year, and it was really great. There was it was more than just trades too, because I remember seeing like a dentistry thing, and I plan on going into dentistry, so just talking with the person there. But there were military people, people from like different businesses, like communications businesses, and like all types of things were there. So it was really great to see. And then on Friday the 13th, we have Dream Big Day, which is blue and white. So this is kind of a culmination of everything. So we'll have Healthy Habits for College presentation for seniors in third period, especially since going to college is kind of independent living. So learning how to start that process is really important. And then I'm very excited for this because I get to see my friend who graduated. Key to Success college freshman, Caleb McCautry, he's going to come and talk about what he's learned in his first year of college so far. So that'll be at 1:15 in the auditorium.
On March 10th, it's just a repeat of College Planning Tips for Juniors, happened tonight from 6 to 7 p.m.
And then we have bowling night on the 11th. That will be sponsored by SA at 5:30 to 7:30 at the Bolero and Lions with a $5 entrance fee.
On March 25th, the NHS ceremony will be taking place from 8 to 10 p.m. It's not 3 to 10 p.m. In the auditorium.
It's a long one.
It's a little long. New NHS members will be inducted into National Honor Society. And me and Arian are current NHS members. And it's been a really great opportunity this year because him and the board set up this new pen pal system with Brook Park. And it's just been really fun talking to the little kids.
And then on the last thing we have is spring break. A very well-deserved break for the students and staff over here before the final push for the rest of April and May.
Under activities and athletics, on March 12th, there will be the winter and orchestra concerts in the auditorium from 7 to 8:30 p.m. And I'm, of course, excited for this because my sister is in concert chorale, so I'll be attending to see her sing, and also many of my friends are performing in the orchestra band, so go support our musicians.
And then lastly, we have the track and field varsity girls conference meet on the 21st at Glenbard East. So we're wishing all of the runners there the best of luck, especially our seniors who are going to be doing their final runs. That's all.
Thank you both.
Dr. Fresh, you have a couple reports tonight from
I
the
do.
team, right?
Yes, I would like to welcome now Ms. Kylie Lindquist, our Assistant Principal of Curriculum and Instruction, and Ms. Beth Augustine, our Assistant Principal of Student Services, who will present our staffing summary for the 26-27 school year.
Good evening.
Good evening, ladies.
Hello, gang's all here.
All right. Thank you so much for having us. We are going to start with the staffing summary sheet, which has all of the totals in terms of FTE for last year in comparison to what we're proposing for the 26-27 school year. So if you look at the chart on the left-hand side of that summary, you'll see the department FTE broken down this current school year. The middle is 26-27, so what we're proposing for next school year, and then the change, whether or not that went up or down. The top represents those totals by department. Underneath that is our required FTEs, so that's where our FTE goes for our division heads, credit recovery, our adaptive PE, special education teachers, things that are protected on the sheet but don't necessarily feed in from the individual department sheets. We want to draw your attention to the bottom there in terms of the change in proposed FTE for next year from this year. So this year we sat at 110.4. Next year we are looking to come in at 109.2, which means we are lower by 1.2 total FTE. If you look down at the very bottom chart on the right-hand side, you can see the section of this summary that looks at where our FTE sits each year versus the projections that Dr. Smetana gives in the fall. So for 26-27, the prediction, the projection that Dr. Smetana gave was 108.1. The actual, as I said, FTE that we are proposing for next year is 109.2. If you look at that chart over the last handful of years, over the last 5 years, you can see
that we are trying to get our actual FTE closer to that projected FTE. So the proposed FTE for next year reflects those efforts toward kind of chipping away at how much the district's model shows us to be overstaffed while still providing interventions and supports for students. So if you look at the historical averages, you can see that our overall class averages of all of our classes, as well as our overall class averages of our core classes, are pretty consistent with this current year, even with lowering a 1.2 FTE. And our overall intervention class sizes are actually down from this year. So again, we're trying to make a good faith effort of making sure that we are getting closer to that model's projection while also still maintaining the opportunities for our students, specifically with regard to interventions and supports.
I think the class size look great.
Yeah, they're really pretty consistent.
Yeah, they're consistent.
When you look at still being down from where this year was, yeah, they're very consistent. And like I said, 2 of the 4 are down, so that's good news.
Yeah, they look good.
And if the board remembers the presentation from Dr. Smetana in November when we did the enrollment projections and attendance projections. Remember, we have next year projecting like 4 or 5 retirees. So the goal will be next year to try to get closer to based on enrollment, but try to get closer to the 108.
Well, the enrollment projections trend down as well. Like, we're probably at the peak year this year. And there's been some fluctuation projected, but, right?
There's one year, I think maybe 3 years out, that there may be a slight
Okay.
increase, but it's also a little too far out to say with certainty if that's going to
People are
happen
gonna
at this
go.
point.
And this, I think you mentioned this when you started the presentation, but your advisory council met and discussed this already.
Yes, Personnel Advisory Council met and reviewed this with Kylie and Beth. On the next pages, are we okay to move to that?
Mm-hmm.
There were no questions submitted, so I think everybody's seen this before. Beth, do you want to touch on these classes?
Yes, so I am bringing to you the classes that are only offered once during the day but are under 20, so those require board approval. There are several intervention classes that we typically bring every year, classes like Heritage Speakers, Pre-Algebra, Sophomore Reading, and Tier 3 Reading. Classes like French 3 and Honors French for an AP are historically under 20, so we're typically bringing those classes forward. I will point out Advanced Auto 3 and 4, which we are trying to continue to build the auto program and isolating those students in a class where they can really receive some advanced skills. I know Ben May is really working to build that program.
Is that a dual credit program?
The auto program is not, no. There's a pretty stringent process that Triton requires you to go through to have your program certified dual credit. So we're still kind of investigating whether or not there's a workaround for that and how we could potentially do that. He does do a lot of work with supporting kids to get placed both in colleges or in jobs, but currently that's not one of our dual credit programs.
Because he's a certified mechanic.
Yeah, he's a master mechanic.
I know I went past the other day, the advanced autos were working after school. They were doing a full-blown front and rear brakes job. So, I mean, they're definitely moving into some higher level stuff. It used to be like wiper blade changes, flat tire change, oil change, like they're...
So Auto 1 is a class, Auto 2 is a class, 3 and 4 are combined?
Yes.
Which is consistent across other areas of the school?
Actually, 2 and 1 and 2, so there's just auto, so that's like the basic, and then there's auto.
Advanced 1 and 2.
1 and 2, so that's a combined class,
Okay.
and then we're combining 3 and 4, so those would be our even
That's
more
the chronology there.
advanced
Okay,
students.
good to know, thank you.
Does that one go into one of the pathways or no?
Yeah,
Yes.
auto can go into a pathway, yes.
It can
Yes.
go, okay. Eventually or down the
Yes.
road, okay.
And speaking of pathways, Intro to Teaching and Robotics are also 2 new classes that we offered this year. and are hoping to run them, even though they're, a little bit lower, that they also can be part of a career pathway, especially the intro to teaching.
So maybe for next year, you could put a star on some of these classes
Sure.
that are, pathway courses that you're trying to build up.
Sure.
And it kind of elevates them, to a different
Absolutely.
status.
Page 2, Beth, singletons.
Page 2 are singleton classes, again, only offered once during the day. They are over 20, but are under the class cap of 30 to 40 plus or minus 2, just so you can see a list of those offerings. And then the last box at the bottom, singleton classes that are over the cap by 1 or 2. And usually there are more. This year there are only 1. So again, class size is looking good all the way around.
So remember, the Board of Education on that first sheet has to approve the courses that are below 20. We have a board policy that specifically sets, I think it's 6:31, that any course below the 20 students enrolled needs board approval. And that was implemented several years ago as we were working through some budget deficit issues to just ensure that, like the question that was stated or the comment that was made tonight, the classes that are running under 20 are maybe focused on either intervention courses, courses for career pathways or state requirements or programs that we're trying to build.
I just have one last question. I was just a little surprised to see a pre-algebra class at 5, because we probably have a couple. Is that a unique pre-algebra class?
Yes, it's predominantly special education
Okay,
students, and
okay.
it will typically grow from August when we have transfer students, so it's usually one that adds numbers. Sometimes we have students also who are maybe placed in our extended algebra class and maybe tested a little bit better, but then when we actually get in to see what their skill set is, they may move to pre-algebra. But it's definitely a class that gains students.
Okay, yeah, just kind of, because pre-algebra was kind of a popular, I just expected more than 5. So
Yeah,
it's
most
like,
of our freshmen in
Yeah.
need of some math support are going into the extended algebra class.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and look at the under 20 later on the agenda.
Correct. That will need
Okay.
board approval tonight.
That works.
Anything else that needs to be touched on, you guys?
Questions?
There were no other questions submitted. Everybody good? Good job.
Okay,
Kylie,
thanks,
good job.
everybody.
Beth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Baldus, come up and do special ed.
Good evening.
Hello.
Is everybody good to see you? Can't believe it's a year back up here again. What's that?
Yeah, no.
Love to come
Well,
see
you've added to your report this year, so I appreciate that. Thank
A
you.
couple of things, that I want to touch on. So, I'm not going to read those through, it's been shared already, but some key points, obviously. This year, we have 15 FTE allocated to the special education department, including 1 transition specialist teacher that we have currently. And our numbers of total paraeducators that are either one-to-ones or program aides is at 20 currently. That number of paras did go up. I'll talk a little bit more about that as we move forward with some increase of some students that moved into the district recently. But for next school year, our projected FTE remains the same as 15 that it is currently right now at this point. Within the student information, we have 222 kids total in our school or our district that are receiving special education services, almost about a 3.5% decrease. However, this week, and I checked today, we have about 4 students that are in the middle of having an initial case study evaluation. So they might be found eligible for special ed here in the next 30 to 40 days, or we might have kids not found eligible. So that number is always fluid and changing throughout the course of the school year. Of those 222, 30 of those are attending outplacement schools at this moment. That's a little bit increase from years past. We saw a trend of more students coming to RB from the feeder school that were previously outplaced. We've seen a little trend of some students that have moved in that are having some significant challenges that we are just need to put them in a more supportive environment. So that's something that I looked at to see, you see a 30% increase. Like, where did that come from, and where was that difference from previous years? 24 students are young adults that are in our transition program, and that's about a 10% increase. as we look to continue to support kids after they graduate or earn their certificate to go on towards young adulthood and life after high school or after transition. The demographics of special ed is about 141 students that are male, 81 that are female. 4 of those are American Indian or Alaskan Native, 4 Asian or Pacific Islander, 28 African American, 106 Hispanic, and 80 white.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
On the young adults in transition? Is that a trend you're seeing with your colleagues across other schools, or is this unique to our population?
Yes, I think we're seeing some of our students that are just not ready to go into maybe a full-blown college Triton experience, COD experience, that need some of those extra skills that they're just not ready to be independent yet. So that is a common trend throughout districts and the other directors that I talk to.
Just seeing the increase year over year, and obviously there's necessary cost associated with all this, but that 30% and the 10% increase
Yeah,
are.
that is a pretty consistent trend, yes. Yeah.
So one question on that. Is there something beyond what we offer at RB, that transition after, 18 high school to, it's through their 22nd birthday, I believe?
It depends on when their birthday falls, but they
Okay.
can finish the year that they turn 22 if their birthday's
Okay.
within the calendar school year.
So does Triton have something like that, or is the high school the only place where they can
We
find that
wouldn't
extra support?
we wouldn't do transition necessarily at Triton.
Yeah.
They
It would be
wouldn't do-
skills or services that we can provide here.
So this is like the only place they can get those skills?
Well, it's skills or services that we provide here.
Services.
They work with the vocational program.
Correct. So we do have some students that are taking some, that are in our transition program. One of the program's split into 2 sections that are taking some courses at Triton currently, or COD, and we do support them on campus. So one of our transition specialists might meet them on campus to go over, see how things are doing as a trial, to see how they're doing before they have a full-on schedule at Triton, and then exit our umbrella, I guess, if you want to say.
But I'm even thinking like even just the life skills, so apart from the high school, is there anything, there's probably not another program?
Because it's special ed, they have to be within our programming
Okay.
because it's part of the placement page that they're required to be with us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they would be a full-blown graduate.
Yes, they'd have to take their diploma and exit from special ed, which they will no longer be able to receive services from under us.
So then it makes sense that we're growing. I mean, we're it. We're
Yeah.
the main program in town.
Yeah, and I think the department does a very good job, the case managers do a very good job of collaborating with the parents and seeing are they ready to take that diploma and move on to the next step, or if we want to take a year, because transition doesn't always have to be until they turn 22. They can go for a year and then exit, or then 2 years and they can exit. It's all really to the individual student. It's not something that if they go transition, they have to stay the whole entire time. They don't.
Nice.
No. So the financial summary of the $6.58 million that's budgeted for special education, just a numbers breakdown of where we're at. Nothing that has been significantly increased over time that has been different or out of whack from previous years. It's just consistent with the total budget numbers, so just so we could be transparent and show where the money is and where it's going. With the district transportation budget, about 55% of that total budget is earmarked for special education transportation, which includes taking some of our students off-site to therapeutic day schooling. During the day, sometimes they take kids to job placement sites, and so it's really, that is where the most amount of transportation is used. Second page. So the pie charts are just a breakdown of where we see our students within our special education department broken down by categories for where they qualify for special education service. So at the top, it goes from our largest group, specific learning disability, through the different categories of how and where students might qualify for our special education services currently in our district. And this does include students that are outplaced as well. The second pie chart is just based within our building at RB. And where's most of our programming going towards? Is it general education classes, maybe like co-taught classes, as opposed to maybe self-contained classes that are taught by a special education teacher. For example, like our study skills, our RIDE, maybe and I'll talk about some of those programs moving forward. And some of our life skills program and transition, those are all considered a self-contained program. So out of our whole 100% of students in special ed, 15% is in that self-contained program here at RB. So some goals for next year. RB, we are part of the Illinois State Board of Ed. We will be on cyclical monitoring during the 27-28 school year. Why is that the goal for next year? I think it's a great opportunity for us to continue to look at our IEP creation, our IDA compliance ahead of time. I think we do a really good job of comprehensively creating IEPs that meet the needs of our students and are very reflective of where they're at and where we want them to be. And I think it's just an opportunity for us to say, okay, we're in cohort 4. There's a total of 6 in the state. It gives us an opportunity to learn from what some of the other schools are going through currently now, and to look at, so where are we at, and making sure that we're IDA compliant
So every 6 years, do we get?
It's every 6 years. It could get moved. So what the state has done, if you are a higher need school where they need to get in and do a little more monitoring of you, you're going to get pushed up. So us being at 4 is a good thing. That means we didn't need to go right and have people come in right away. But probably 4 to 5 years. We'll see what how that pans out after we go through the process. So it's kind of a real good checkpoint for us. I think it's a good thing to really look at what we're doing in our systems and how we're implementing and executing IEPs with our students. As previous years, we'll continue to look at attendance, look at our team as a whole. This is year 2 of an attendance team that we're looking at specific students within our department about what's getting in the way of them coming to school, what are some things that we can do to help them out. And that same group that has been meeting last year is still there as well. So we have some consistency with that team. And also helping us to make sure that we're looking at the freshmen on, keeping the freshmen on track, the graduation rate, and continuing to look at how our co-teaching model is working within our general education setting. And then also towards the ACT. Our students still do take the ACT, and make sure that we support them on that as well.
The rest is just definitions, correct, Kevin?
What's that?
The rest are just definitions?
Correct. Just an overview of our programming that we have. All those 222 kids can be in any of these programs that we offer here at RB. Very comprehensive special ed department and programming here at RB to meet all the needs of all our diverse learners.
Very good. Any additional questions? I think it's a good comprehensive report, so we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Appreciate the support.
Appreciate it.
Yep. Next up, we do have a couple of FOIAs to review this evening.
3 FOIAs were submitted. The responses are included in your packet.
No, you didn't get any questions on those, did you?
No questions were submitted. Michael Henry and O'Shea Smith.
Moving on to, we have no one here for visitor comment this evening, unless I'm missing someone. Oh. Did we miss one, a report?
He's coming in old business. Mr.
We're going
Man.
to put you to the side till old business. Okay.
He's getting ready. He's getting in the
Okay.
ejector seat.
Consent agenda. We do have minutes on the consent agenda. Ms. Gaska.
The Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, takes the following action on the listed consent agenda item. Approves minutes from the meetings held on February 10 and February 24, 2026, open and closed sessions, as presented in the March 10, 2026 Board Agenda Packet.
So moved. We need a second.
Second.
Second from Mr. Durkin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? Seeing none. We can move on to old business, student registration fees.
Nothing on life safety, right? No capital improvement, no
Correct.
something solar, okay?
Okay.
There
I'll
were
just
no-
move us along.
I got you.
There were no questions submitted on student registration fees. The administration is recommending the increase of the technology fee for the class of 3030 and beyond to increase to $125.
Okay. Are we comfortable moving ahead with this, everyone? Seeing no
Yes.
questions? Thank you.
The Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois approves the student registration fees for the 2026-2027 school year as presented in the March 10, 2026 Board Agenda Packet.
Second.
Second from Mr. Durkin, and we do need a roll call on this one.
Ms. Gasko?
Yes.
Ms. Ruska?
Yes.
Mr. Novak?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Salas?
Yes.
Mr. Caputo?
Yes.
And Mr. Durkin?
Yes.
We also have the student handbook that was similar to the student fees presented last month. I think there were some questions on this one.
There were. Mr. Manning, can you come up and go through your recommended changes? And the handbook advisory committee was, Mr. Novak served on that with Mr. Manning.
Correct.
And you also had a staff committee, a student committee, and a parent survey went out, correct?
Yeah, so in preparation for the annual review, we met with the RBA through our Culture and Climate Committee. We had some dedicated time at the last institute, and we completed a parent survey. We met with students through the Student Equity Leadership Team, and Mr. Novak and I met to review his feedback and just look at updated areas that are going to be presented tonight. Just going to the charts. Some of this is just updated language as it reflects current policy through the state that we just wanted to make sure that we highlighted in the book. So it's not necessarily like major procedural changes. It's more just making sure that what's in the state code is just kind of like highlighted under the handbook. And the handbook is the procedural manual that is guided by board policy, so that everyone knows that as well. So the first one is mental health days, making sure that our students and families understand that those absences are not going to be penalized for like discipline, and they're not going to contribute to our truancy determination. However, they do count as attendance tracking against a school when students take a mental health day off. So it does hit our overall ADA percentage, but it's not counted against us and the student in regards to truancy or disciplinary matters. Restorative practices, just highlighting the fact that we do everything possible to collaborate, mediate, meet with students before issuing any type of discipline through our office. New this year is a science safety contract, which we're going to embed within the handbook. So when the handbook signatures go out through residency, parents also will have that link inside the handbook, something that our teachers do inside of their classrooms. I thought this would be a more efficient way of tracking and obtaining some of those signatures. So we were able to do that and embed that the contract link there for the science safety contracts. And that's more related to labs and things like that inside the classroom. SOPA section is under district technology, just highlighting again that we are compliant with the Student Online Protection Act. And the digital resource agreements are aligned with our vendors that we use here at the school district. Off-campus speech is the next area. It's just additional language when reviewing the handbook. We thought it might be a good idea to make sure that our families and students are aware that off-campus online speech may only result, so only is a key word there, in school discipline when it's a material and substantial disruption to our learning environment. So we know our students are on social media. We know that that's an ongoing thing and sometimes like a regular occurrence, minute to minute in some cases for kids. We just want them to understand that if there's something that they do online that may impact our operations, there could be associated discipline assigned to that. But we should use the word only there only if it disrupts our learning environment, substantially disrupts. AI is a evolving thing here. The state law went into effect in January. However, they have yet to release their guidance, which is supposed to come out here in July 1st. Through that, they're going to highlight and define areas of safety, bias, ethical use, internet safety, evaluation tools, roles for educators, and data reporting. So there's a lot that's going to be encompassed within that guidance. We haven't had our eyes on it yet. I'm in a conference here in June, and I'm sure some of the legal professionals through the state are going to be talking about what to expect within that guidance. So as we review that and we come back for this next year, we'll enhance what we already have currently. We did put some information related to AI in the handbook last year. For this year, Some of the things that came up, and these were the conversations we had with the RBA and our Culture and Climate Committee, was talking about artificial intelligence being used for deep fakes, things like that, for taking pictures of either if it's a staff member or manipulating those pictures and using them in a negative fashion. So we just made sure that we had that language included under artificial intelligence, and that is something that is restricted use for students, that they shouldn't be creating a deep fake, non-authorized use of either students or staff on artificial intelligence.
OSS.
So this is something that we do currently. Just wanted to highlight again that on-school suspensions do not exceed 3 days unless we've exhausted every intervention possible. And at that point, we look at safety and things like that of that nature. Next one is timeout language. This is in relation to what the timeout bill is from the state, more or less for special ed students. Just understanding that we are compliant with ISB regulations regarding timeout and physical restraint, and that would only be used if there is immediate risk or a serious physical harm that the student's imposing on themselves. So that is just something that we wanted to include there and highlight that. I should note that all of our special education staff that work with students that may pose a risk to themselves, and our security staff are CPI or crisis prevention trained on a yearly basis. And that's to de-escalate behaviors as well as potentially hold students if they are harmed to themselves. Knocking on wood as I say this right now, we haven't had to use that, but they are trained, and it's more or less to get up front and be a de-escalation technique more than anything. So that's there. And then lastly, closed campus is a procedure that we have an expectation, I should say, for students. We are a closed campus. Students are not allowed to leave for lunch. They're not allowed to leave if they are not authorized, so a parent or guardian does have to call in. So this would include any outside activity that's not approved, including like a student demonstration or off-campus lunch. So we wanted to make sure that we have that in there, and then the guiding expectations and outcomes that could happen if a student leaves that's unauthorized. So that would be, if you miss class, it's not excused. There could be academic consequences such as not being able to make up quizzes or work that was assigned. A couple questions that came up.
I think you had two more.
Yeah, e-learning days and fees. 62 is e-learning days. I think it's just a note that it complies with ISBE requirements.
Correct, sorry. Yeah, e-learning days, it's just, again, just making sure that we brought in some of the state language that if we do move to an e-learning day, we are compliant with the ISBE instructional hour requirements, and students will have access to staff members during that time. And as Dr. Smetana related, the district, students shall not be denied access to educational services if there are balances due in relation to fees. That includes transcripts, graduation, prom, things like that.
Do we have in here the language that Dr. Smetana?
Yes.
Yes, that language already exists in the handbook in a different section,
Collection
and we're not
methods.
changing it.
Yeah, so unpaid balance may be pursued through lawful collection methods.
Okay,
So
perfect.
on the e-learning days, are students required to have their cameras on?
We cannot require them to have their cameras on. We strongly encourage them.
How do we track attendance then?
Well, they still have to log in and participate.
Well, so they can log in and the computer can be on.
Participate.
They have to participate.
What's nice, and what we have a really extensive e-learning expectation procedure that's already online, and the teachers do a good job prior to weather and things like that come into play to review those expectations with their students. So they're accustomed to it. A lot of them, fortunately, had to go through it during COVID, so they have those expectations there. It's just an annual review, and something that we don't see having an issue with on e-learning days. But
And students have participated in chats, teachers give assignments digitally and they're able to see the student that are around. So we have a good presence to see which students are connected.
Dave, you had some questions were submitted. You want to address those? I don't know if they're on, some of these are not related to the chart, but had some general questions.
some general questions on current page 42 of the handbook. There's a question about laser pointers. We had an issue with this gosh, maybe 8 years ago, where students were bringing laser pointers in and like disrupting the classroom environment. So we just included a quick statement regarding, you know, possession or use of a laser pointer that disrupts the environment is restricted. If a kid has one because they forgot it's in their bag, we're not going to go after them or anything like that.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure it didn't become like contraband, you know. I've known kids who have had tools from, they were working on the theater set, and the tools were in the backpack, and that they were actually suspended a day for that. And I was like, oh no, the cat laser is going to
Not
cost
here.
somebody.
That didn't occur here.
No, not here. It was
Okay, I just
actually,
wanted to be clear for anyone watching.
No, not here. It was actually, at Odo Park, but and it was accidental. So I saw the lasers, and I get it. They definitely can be very disruptive, and so that was just.
But it's not a new section, just to be.
No.
Well, I know,
Yeah.
but I'm
Yeah.
just making sure that we find the cat laser. It's not going to result in somebody being.
Well, as long as the cat laser is not being used as a classroom disruption or
Right.
being
Exactly.
used, right.
Right. The next question is related to directory updates on page 74. This is like a mandatory letter that we send out every summer that parents have the ability to change the options in regards to opt-out. So, we do get emails and solicits from like the military, from colleges, things like that, from athletic areas that want information from our students, and it is our parents' right to opt out of that information being sent to those entities. So that letter is sent out during residency, and then it actually has a guide for parents to go into Skyward, and it shows them how to opt out for each one of those categories.
Okay, so because my students are in school now, I've never seen that letter because I'm not having to do that. I only knew about military when my kids were in school. So if it's possible, maybe we could get a copy in the Friday update. We're just kind of curious what categories parents can opt out of.
Sure.
And when parents opt out.
Through
because when-
Skyward? Excuse me, is it through Skyward they do what you said?
It is in
Okay.
Skyward. There's a guide within the letter that was sent out last July. It's also currently, it's there now, so if parents do at any time wanted to make a correction or update, either they can send me an email or they can go into Skyward and make those corrections.
I believe it's also stated in our board policy what a kid can opt out of.
Yeah, because we look at page 74, there's a lot of information that can be requested, so, to be conscientious of that. And then, so then I was thinking, so that book we get from, the Patrons Council or, it's our parent group, that has the family names and the phone numbers, super, super helpful, especially, when your kids are there. When they opt out of that, is their name still included in the handbook?
And like the alumni book, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah,
No, she's referring to the PTO
the
directory.
PTO directory.
So that's one of the areas that you can opt out of is parent groups. So if they do opt out of the parent group communication, their information would not be included.
Is on there. But if they want their information in there, so you have all your friends have your information, they can still opt out of these third party or these
Separate
outside of the
boxes.
school parties.
Different categories. So you might have the military as one, you might have colleges as two, you might have the parent groups as three. So you'll see it as you get into Skyward, and it's all outlined in that letter. And I believe that letter is under the parent tab as well. If not, we'll make sure that it's in there included. But we'll send that letter out during residency. And then we actually have a check-in table where Ms. Weinberg interacts with each family as they come through to talk about Skyward opt-out.
Okay,
And we can walk
nice.
parents through that process as well.
okay. Yeah, that'd be great if, like, a copy of that letter, just to see it, because I don't have any reason to be in Skyward at this point.
Sure, I have a copy
Oh,
that Dave
perfect.
said we've always submitted to you, so however, Mr.
Just leave
Superintendent.
if you want to leave a copy, or if the board wants to see a copy. Most of the board, I think, maybe Bill or Deanna, if you don't remember from when you were registering your
I'm
students.
comfortable. If you want to put it in the Friday update, that might be fine.
Yeah, Friday,
That sounds a good place
Okay.
to put some documents.
And then there was one other general comment submitted on sexting.
Yeah, and I'm not suggesting any changes now. I read it on the sexting. I realize in the workplace, everywhere, it is an issue. It's a little short paragraph here, and I'm just encouraging some of our board members to think about it, compare it to what you have at work. Part of me, I have an intuition that probably there needs to be a little bit more. it's just something to mull around, I think, for the next year. And I guess, the one question I have, Dr. Bannon, what if, I have 4 kids, and, they love to call each other during church, so the phone goes off in the middle, they do all these things, What if somebody sends something to another student that's inappropriate? They send it from home, so they're not doing this on school campus, but the student at school inadvertently is opening this thing. And of course, somebody sees it. Look at that. How do we handle that?
So, not necessarily related to sexting, but just what I was mentioning earlier about artificial intelligence, social media sites. Students are on there 24/7, so it's hard for the school to police everything that our kids are doing, right? So we try to inform, get in front of, and educate our students in regards to the safe policies and practices that they use on social media, which isn't done prior to handing them a phone and giving them all access to that, right? So we're just informing, educating our parents and our families on that. Now, if the word substantially disrupts, so if there is something that happens online that's brought into our school, now it's a big disruption to the classroom environment, that's when we can then see what's going on and get in front of what the occurrence is and try to mediate that through. If it is just kids sending whatever information to each other, and it doesn't disrupt the learning environment, that's going to be something from family to family, and they would refer them. If it's a criminal act or something like that, they would have to go to the local police departments to manage that.
Okay, so it'll percolate to the top, so to speak, when there's a disruption.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
And it's got to be a substantial disruption. It's got to be where we're stopping instruction or we're stopping our operations to deal with such and such matter.
Okay.
And I'd like to add, Mr. Manning and Dean do a nice job multiple times a year. We present, to the student about social media awareness and safety and bullying and all that. So they're made aware, of what could happen if you don't make the best choices. So our kids are informed and they're supported multiple times throughout the year.
And it's a relevant time for that to occur. We've had some things with the senior class in previous years on Twitter. And so we're actually going to be meeting with our senior class here on March 26th to review some of our expectations, not only for the end of the year, but then just to give them updates and guidance in regards to hey, let's keep it, focused on what we need to do to finish out the year in a positive manner. So.
Yeah, I think, we talked about, I think even our student council, you mentioned that you had the safe relationships and the dating. And, it goes right into the sexting and everything else. So I think the two go hand in hand, and to start thinking about, for us as board members and looking at that policy, is there something that's missing or not missing, and just kind of be mulling it around.
I think the ISB guidance will help that as well when that comes out in July.
Yeah.
We need this approved tonight. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Mr.
Any additional questions on any of the student handbook changes or otherwise? Okay, then, Ms. Gaska, I think we're good.
The Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois approves the adoption of the student handbook for the 2026-2027 school year as presented in the March 10, 2026 board agenda packet.
So moved. Could we have a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Durkin, and it's an all in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? Seeing none, motion carries. Under new business, we do have payment of bills. I don't think there were questions submitted on these. Any questions here on the floor? And we can go ahead and move forward.
Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois approves the payment of bills as presented in the March 10, 2026 board agenda packet.
So moved. Need a second.
Second.
Second from Mr. Williams, and we do need a roll call, please.
Mr. Caputo.
Yes.
Mr. Durkin.
Yes.
Ms. Gasko.
Yes.
Ms. Ruska.
Yes.
Mr. Novak.
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Ms. Salis.
Yes. We do need a vote tonight on the minimum course enrollment approvals, or actually, I'm not sure if we're required to have a vote, but I think we're trending towards a vote. Any objections to moving forward on this? Okay.
The Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois approves in accordance with District Policy 6:31 minimum course enrollment, the list of courses for the 2026-2027 school year with projected enrollment below 20 students based on the current student enrollment data as presented in the March 10, 2026 board agenda packet.
So moved, and we need a second.
Second.
Second from Mr. Williams. This is most likely an all in favor. All in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? This carries. The next one is the IHSA membership for the 26-27 school year.
Yeah, there is no more, they have waived the fee now for the last few years, so there's no money involved. It's just an official adoption that will be members of the IHSA. The recommendation is approved tonight unless somebody wants to read it again. Not that I really can get the policies or membership changed, but we could put it to a consent in April, or we could approve it tonight.
That's our athletic.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is our involvement with IHSA. It's more than just athletics, too. It's a lot of our state's activities, yeah.
State competitions.
Any questions on this one? It is what it is. Welcome to your opinions on IHSA, but we should move forward.
The Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, approves the Illinois High School Association membership renewal for the 2026-2027 school year as presented in the March 10, 2026 Board Agenda Packet.
So moved. Need a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Durkin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? This carries. Moving on to visitors' statements. No one here for a second option for visitor statements. Board of Education discussion items. Ms. Ruska, Board of Education Policy 6:280.
So I have a draft, and Nick said he would look at a draft if one other person would like to. You don't have to. What I have found, I still need to trim a few things. What I found is many of the districts, before they went to the template, included their instructional design staff. They included some of the staff that had expertise in assessment, and it was a collaborative process. As schools, one by one, and in the little addendum here, I could see schools where they list the people, but then they've recently adopted the template, the state, the 6:280, and it kind of washed all that away. Now, I remember when RB, we didn't have the, Illinois Association, that template.
Press Plus, is that what you mean?
Yeah, the Press Plus, and it was very, we could never update all the legal cases that happened and all the different policies. And so Press Plus is just such a huge tool, but as we, have the opportunity to evaluate them, we have the opportunity to put back some of our detail. So RB was listed, they show where RB included, our instructional curriculum, our curriculum and design principal and our assessment people. Oak Park, the same thing, but now Oak Park has moved to the policy and that's kind of been removed. So, I have a proposal here with about 5 words to add that kind of solidifies that we keep, our experts involved. They may be involved, and you're not forcing them to be involved. And then, of course, how that shakes out is in, the procedure book and how staff handles it. But as a policy, it broadens it. It, takes it out of the hands of just one sole person. And, in the draft here, it talks about how there are different assessment models. There could be a time when the school decides they want to look at something like that. Well, then you would have your committee, to be able to bring that to you and propose something like that. So it's been a nice little exercise. And it shows us the tool. There's a couple schools who have have their policy, but they have added a couple little words in there to make it theirs. And, that's what Press Plus is. It's a template for us, and we have the opportunity to make it ours. So we have the draft. Take a look at that. I want to tighten some things up. I think I have some redundancy words here. I like to write in a very succinct style, so I like to cut out anything that's redundant. And then by Friday, you'll have that, and then we should be able to.
So when are you, you're going to send it to me, just so I can send it out, because I have not received it?
I'll send you the final copy. I'm going to hand 1 or 2 people a rough draft, and then I'll send you the electronic copy of the.
So maybe this is a similar question. So what's our next step here? So this is a little bit out of our normal cadence, right? Where we look at the press.
Friday,
but let me just ask the question. So normally we would look at policies.
Yeah.
The policy advisory committee would review them, bring them to the board, and talk about them at that point. What I'm understanding is that you have an alternative policy, and you're looking for the board to take action on one of the policies that you've rewritten.
So it's an alternative policy. It's not even adjustment, it just adds to that policy.
It's a change. It's a change to the policy.
It's a modest change to an existing policy.
Okay.
It just expands it. It doesn't go against our procedures, and I'm fine with us waiting to the next, we'll share this, everyone can review that, and we can save it for when we, accept the next policy changes. But when we get the policy review quarterly, we have a list of policies to review. There's nothing that prohibits us from reviewing other policies and adding other policies in that review if we want to make any updates or changes to those policies.
Right, it just requires the board to
Right, so
have the
you would
interest in
send
doing
that
so.
copy to me, and I would
Yes.
bring it to the Policy Advisory Council when we do
Right.
the next Press Plus.
Yes. And then people,
You could have
everyone-
whoever you want to help you edit it, but if
Yes.
the next step would be after that, it goes to Policy Advisory.
Right, and they can look at it, and then, there's a little rationale and some background, how we see the schools kind of, what they had and, what they've adopted, so it gives you a little background.
Okay, but we shouldn't technically talk about policy in the Friday update.
Okay?
I mean, it could, because we don't send the Press Plus in a Friday update because that's technically like boards, we should go advisory. Once you have a draft file, send it to me, I'll forward it to my
Okay.
advisory council, we could put it on the agenda for the next Press Plus.
Okay, yeah.
And then the whole board will review it and discuss it. So no one can assume that there's discussions or anything occurring in a Friday update about a policy.
And that's
why I would-
perfectly fine. And, it's not a race.
Yeah.
But it's an opportunity because the policies are ours. And that's our number one job, really, is to own our policies, to look at them, to comb them, to love them. And, if the opportunity arises where we see something that we can expand, we have such a robust staff. We have, 12 national, certified teachers. We have a curriculum instruction person. We have assessment people here. We are more equipped than many small colleges. And so, it's just a good thing to be able to solidify that in some of our policy, So, yep, I will, so moving
Okay.
ahead on that, making some progress, and
Okay, I just wanted to know what the
Final draft?
expectation was, and then the board would take action.
Just send me the
Yeah.
final draft. Laura.
Okay.
okay, so definitely making progress.
Okay. But we could take it off this agenda at this point.
Yes.
Yes, okay, that was kind of a logistics operational question. Does
Yes.
anyone else have any items for future meetings they wish to discuss? Seeing none, we do have matters for closed session this evening: appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body, including the HR packet, student discipline, individual student matters, purchase, sale, or lease of real property, probable, imminent, or pending litigation, collective negotiations, and school safety.
The Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, enters closed session for the purpose of considering closed session matters as presented in the March 10, 2026 Board Agenda Packet.
So move, could I have a second?
Second.
Second. And we need a roll call to go into closed.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Caputo?
Yes.
Mr. Durkin?
Yes.
Ms. Gasko?
Yes.
Ms. Ruska?
Yes.
Mr. Novak?
Yes.
Okay, we are adjourned for now. It's 8:04.